Hello and welcome to 8th lecture in third chapter of our comprehensive machine learning, data science and artificial intelligence course based on Python. Last time we were talking about class and object. We had done intuitive discussion that this kind of template of car is somewhat similar to a class. Inside the class, some attributes or properties, their values are specified. For example, color is equal to red, size is equal to big, then this car comes into existence. So the state of this car that is decided by properties. But every object that also has some methods. For example, this car inside which I can write accelerate from maybe 200 rpm to 2000 rpm. While this is a small car, so accelerate from 200 to maybe just 1000 rpm. That are functions or methods which decide behavior of this newly created object. So these objects and these objects both are instances of this class, but they have different attributes which decide their states, and they have different methods which decide their behavior. This was the intuitive understanding. We also said that we will later on discuss these four important concepts, and we have not yet discussed them, but we will surely discuss: inheritance, encapsulation, abstraction, and polymorphism. Okay, now we start with our understanding of this concept of class and object with code, because so far it was just intuitive understanding, but how actually Python defines a class. So just like a function is defined, but for function we have to write a keyword def. Here there is no need of keyword. In function we write this kind of somewhat thing, that def, then the name of the function, and optionally some arguments. In the class there is no def keyword, the name of, then there is only keyword class is there, and name of the class. Just like function definition must be followed by a colon symbol, the class definition also must be followed by a colon symbol. So when you go to the next line in the Jupyter notebook, automatically the indentation will be marked, because after colon, wherever you encounter colon in Python, next line must be indented. Okay, so here class dog is there, species is equal to canis familiaris, any name can be given, def. Now as soon as I write these things, clearly all these things, they are functions, but they are defined inside the class. So I will not call functions, but now onwards I will use word methods. So this particular is, in other languages there is a clear name. It is called constructor. It is a special method. It does not do anything. It just creates or constructs the object from this class. Okay, and we will see how it constructs them. But it takes two arguments. One argument is self, and that argument is never counted. But that means that every constructor must have that self argument. Okay, and then two arguments are name and age. So we create a simple dog class. Every dog has a certain name and every dog has a certain age. In addition, we create one species in the beginning. So I could have given this species here also. That means I could have created different species. But here I want to create many dogs of only one species. So that's why I have put species at the top. So they are not part of the argument which are passed into the constructor. So all the dogs which will be instantiated, they will be of this same species, but their names will be different and their ages will be different. Okay. Now how this function works? Then once this function is called, then whatever argument is passed here, that is assigned to self.name. Okay, and whatever age is passed here, that is assigned to self.age. So the dog will have this much name, and this many years of age. Okay. Then there is another description. This is a common method. That method was called constructor method. This is a simple method. Okay. We are just describing that return self.name is self.age years old. This is a string that we all know. And similarly, this is another method which says speak. You can also call bark for a dog. It takes argument self and sound. Okay. So instead of sound, you have to pass some value, say how wow or bow wow, depending upon how your dog is barking. Okay. So then that's speak self. Now one thing you can see important, that whenever you define any method within the class, normal arguments are always there which decide the behavior of the object which will be created. But in addition, this self must also be there. This is one important feature of object-oriented programming. So self and additional argument always comes. Okay. And then let us see how this class is used. For that I will little bit minimize this. Okay. Now if some class dog is defined as above, then I can use it in this manner. That buddy, a dog, buddy is 9. Now where this will go? Dog class. So dog class means these init method, and remember these are two times underscore. Okay, these type of methods are called given a special name in Python. I am giving you that much as exercise. Find out what these type of methods are called. The method whose names have two underscore in the beginning and two underscore in the end. Okay, so this method is actually dash underscore underscore init underscore underscore, means it is a method for all practical purpose. You can understand that it is a method called dog because the name of the class is dog. So this method initializes dog class, and then what you have to find pass to this method. You don't have to pass the self. Self is already there. Okay, but you have to pass the other two parameters, name. So here I am passing buddy, and here I am passing 9. Then I am calling the other method. Other method is description method. Okay, so print buddy.description. Description method does not require any argument. As I said, this self is automated kind of argument. You don't have to pass it while calling the method. So fine. And then dash speak self sound. Again, self you don't have to pass anything for that, but for sound I have to pass. So I'm passing this woof woof. Now let us see. First I have to define my class. Just like when a function is defined, nothing happens. But when a function is called, then the behavior starts. Similarly, when a class is defined, then nothing happens. But when a class is called, then its behavior will start. Okay. I think this asterisk is shown, so perhaps I will have to execute. No, I think fine. Okay. Otherwise, I thought perhaps I will have to execute from the top entire Jupyter notebook earlier sessions. Now let us execute this first. Buddy dog buddy 9. So this will be calling the constructor method, and it will create an object of that is a dog object because the name of the class is dog. So it will create a dog object whose name is buddy and whose age is 9. And we will immediately be able to see that when we will see the print the description and when we will print that sound of the dog. Okay, no output is being generated. So wait for a second. Okay, so actually the cell here was not the appropriate environment. It was a dash cell. That's why the problem was. Now you can see that once I click the class is defined, and once I write this will use this method. So object dog named buddy with 9 years age is instantiated, created. Then print buddy.description, that will print buddy is 9 years of old. So self.name is self.age years of old. Then buddy says woof woof. That is the output given by this. Self.name says self.age. Okay. So this is one example. Similarly, let us create another object. This time I want to create an object Tommy, and he is a dog named Tommy, and the age is 6 years. Now this time when I want him to speak or bark, then here I had supplied woof woof. Here I am supplying bow wow. So let us write that, and you can see first line will create a dog named Tommy due to this much code. Okay, and this line will create a description due to this code, and then this line will create the output this that is created by this line. Okay, now these two I will leave as an exercise. Here you don't have to do anything, you just have to write a class definition like this. For class car you will have to write two definitions, class car with this diagram. So obviously what will be the attributes? Then attributes are fuel, because a car can be run on petrol or diesel or even nowadays electric car or gas based, ethanol based. So fuel, and what is the maximum speed of that car. These are the two attributes. And when you instantiate object from this class, then the methods will be refuel, get fuel, set speed, get speed, and drive. I just want you to create some kind of this kind of class definition. Okay, and then you have to provide inside the class definition attributes. So instead of this is the example of attribute. Okay, so here attribute will be fuel and max speed, and those two will go somewhere here. And then inside also you can put the attribute, instance attribute. This is class attribute because here all the dogs were of same species, but inside the method also, that is the constructor, when it creates the object, there also you can put the attributes name and age, and these will be specific to the object. So this dog buddy has a different name and different age. This dog Tommy has a different name and a different age. So here in this case, those attributes have to be like this. That means they have to be instance attributes. There is no class attributes in these two. Okay, and similarly methods. So these other two are examples of methods. First one is also method, but it is a constructor method. It just creates the object. So these two are the examples of methods. So instead of description and speak, there will be methods like refuel, get fuel, set speed, get speed, and drive. And here if you cannot write any code for that method, instead of that, I just want you to write, if you can write some code in get fuel, at least a name like this, that get fuel from petrol pump using an F string. Now that should not be very difficult. Set, then maybe set speed. So you can write at least one sentence, written set speed is 100 kilometer per hour using F string. So suppose you cannot do even that much, then I at least expect that you write the name of the method, okay? And here, if you do not write anything, then just write fast. This is actually a standard way in which programmers do things. They first create a template like this when they are not sure what behavior exactly they want from their objects. They just write fast so that when you click this, error will not be triggered, okay? So you can see no error is triggered. Otherwise, if you don't write anything, then errors will be triggered. If I execute, you can see that error is triggered. So just write pass instead of the code for the method. Here I am at least keeping the old code for the dog class. Okay, so just write pass, that much would be enough for this method inside its code. Similarly, this is actually simpler compared to the upper one. Again, it is a car class and it has what attributes? Then attributes are red, means color is the attribute. Then model or company is another attribute, and model, that is another attribute. So this has color red, company is Ford, and the model is Mustang. This has color blue, company is Toyota, and the model is Prius. This has color green, company is Volkswagen, and the color is model is Golf. Now that means you can create that kind of 3 attributes. And what are the methods? Then at least this diagram does not show any method. So fine, only one constructor will be there. This, because constructor has to be provided, otherwise the object will not be instantiated. But constructor will have only have 3 class attributes, 3 instance attributes. There will not be any class attributes. So you don't want anything to be common between the 3 cars, okay? But inside here, self dot color, self dot company, and self dot what was the third, model. So that will be there. Then there will not be any other method. So these 2 will not be required. Only the constructor method will be required. There is no class attributes. So these will also be not required. And class car, name of the class will be car. Then try to call this car with different values for the attributes. That means put red, Ford and Mustang here. Then put blue, Toyota and Prius here. Then put green, Volkswagen and Golf here. Fine. So I think you will be able to do it. If you cannot do, then we will provide you with a solution. Now this is one other interesting diagram. Many people do not like object-oriented programming. Do not like means they say that as far as Python is concerned, it is so flexible and powerful a language that object-oriented paradigm is not necessary, and even very complex solution can be made without even using word object and class. But object-oriented programming also has its beauty. So those who favor object-oriented programming, they often quote this diagram that your entire program works like this. This is one class, and this is instance of that class actually. So name is equal to something, attributes are some 1, 2, 3 attributes value will be there, and behaviors, that is the method, they are some other 1, 2, 3 values will be there. So this is one object, this is another object, and whenever an object oriented program runs, objects interact with each other through messages. Okay, so that means there are 2 kinds of functions. One function is when you use to create an object, but there are other type of methods also. They are when used when one object of different class, say class 1, wants to interact with one object of another class, say class 2. I hope you are getting me. For example, here these methods are there, but they will not be able to they will not be used for interacting with, say, dog class and cat class. But if there are some other classes, many classes are there, and you want them to interact with each other. For example, one class is the user details form. Now there is another class in which class address, inside which attributes are name, street name, pin code number, that is zip code number, then phone number, etc. Now when that class address will obviously have to interact with user input form. Otherwise, how will the form will be filled? Okay, so that time 2 different classes are interacting with each other, and how they too will interact, then they too will interact through messages. So this is another nice representation of how a program in which multiple classes and multiple objects of different classes are defined actually functions. Okay. Now we want to do this in our next lecture, that is core principles of object-oriented programming, and this is very important lecture, so please pay attention. These are 4 principles on which entire object-oriented programming is based: encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphism, and abstraction. So one has to understand this very clearly. Okay, so we will continue it in the next.